Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Lab. My name is Zan Zerbel, and for anyone who's new to the lab, this is where we have conversations with a wide range of adventurous individuals to educate, stoke, and inspire. In today's episode, Marshall Yancic and I speak with JT Lehman and Stephen Mortinson. We'll talk about JT's Loowit FKT, trail running, JT's company Alpenflow, and Stephen's adventure photography, and much more. So with that, on to the show.
Right on. So JT Lehman is a mechanical engineer and guide living here in Portland, Oregon. He grew up running through the thick forests of the Pacific Northwest and chasing his brother around his family farm. He's an avid trail runner, backpacker, ski mountaineer, and has a unified passion for human-powered movement in big mountain landscapes. In 2018, he actually founded Alpenflow, which is a guiding service. Alpenflow uses mountain adventure to inspire, empower, and support people to experience the best of themselves. And our second guest tonight is a great friend of JT's, and he's often the mastermind behind the creative storytelling that goes behind JT's adventures and everything that he can dream up. I'd like to welcome Stephen Mortinson. Stephen Mortinson is the creative director, filmmaker, and photographer based in Portland, Oregon, specializes in conservation, outdoor, and adventure storytelling in documentary and commercial mediums. A reasonably fit individual, so he claims. Stephen takes part in ultra running, bike packing, swimming, skiing, and whatever else his friends can rope him into. So JT and Stephen, I'm super stoked to have you here, as is everyone else. So welcome to the lab. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much for having us on.
It's our pleasure. So I'm going to run through some slides here. I'm going to have Marshall run through some slides, and we're kind of just going to ask you what's going on in these slides and get a little background from you guys. So if Marshall wants to flip over the slides here, we'll start on.
I will say these are pulled off the web, so we'll see where they come from. Hope not to embarrass too much, but let's have some fun with it, guys. First up, this is brought to you by the old Instagram. First one up, I think this is JT.
Yeah, this is me taken by Stephen, actually. Great example.
Okay.
So this is out on an Alpenflow trip on the Loowit Trail. We did a backpacking trip out there, and Stephen came along and shot photos. And I think what I love about Stephen's photography is that he does this really great job of capturing experiences and capturing these little moments. He's always really on top of it, and I really love looking back through his photos after a trip or after a race, because he does such a great job of pulling out these little things that I might have missed. And when we were on the Loowit Trail, we came upon a few different patches of wild strawberries, and here he, I think, does a really good job of capturing how stoked I get to find fruit in the wild.
Even if it's super, super tiny.
So I gotta imagine, I mean, you run across something like this after 27 miles, Loowit, this is like a dream come true, eh?
It's pretty great. I mean, it is pretty tiny, so the reward is small, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, there's something so fun about it, and getting that like little reward. I don't know, the novelty of it, the taste of a wild strawberry, and you guys probably know, but you see strawberry plants a lot in the Northwest, but not very often do you find those little tiny berries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
And this smile I see, I think this is something that, as I've gotten to know you as well, like it's pretty imperative to you in your happy place outdoors on a trail somewhere, yeah?
Yeah. I do smile a lot, as you'll notice, but yeah, I really love being outside. I love hanging out with good friends and, sharing experiences. And I try to focus on the little things and just like take pleasure in being in the moment. And of course, I'm not always doing that, but get, really, really excited to be outside with friends. And yeah, Stephen does a good job of capturing that as well.
Yeah, this image definitely shows that, just pure stoke over that tiny little berry. I think we'll go to the next one now, and this one's for Stephen. So Marshall wants to flip it over. Stephen, if you want to just tell us kind of what this is all about, where it was taken, take it away.
Yeah, this was, we did a trip with some friends to Anthony Lakes this last February. And we went backcountry skiing in that area, and didn't, I just got a new ski setup this winter, so I wanted to give it a test run. And I was with these guys, JT here, and a few other guys who were like way more experienced at skiing than me. But they were nice enough to drag me along, and then like pick like the steepest thing to drop off of with me. But we had a lot of fun, and yeah, I feel like breaking a story down to just the nitty gritty here. Scout the land, dig a pit, feel small, feel aggressive, coast it in, admire nature. That's kind of what we're doing out there, and it's nice to be able to break it down. And
Yeah. I like that. And it also aligns with how you've kind of blended your passions for adventure with your storytelling and videography. Could you kind of tell us kind of what that journey has been like for you?
Yeah, I think it's all about, these new experiences and taking a little bit of risk. And really, I think what I would try to capture is just the amazing people that I'm with as best I can. And that's why if you do look at my Instagram or anything, you'll see it's mostly people. It's not really mountains or anything because I'm more interested in the people side of things, the story side of things. And so, yeah, JT here, trying to get a picture of me too.
Yeah, doing my Stephen Mortinson impression.
That's the impression of me. Yeah. So.
And Steven, what do you mostly shoot with? What kind of brand of camera? Or
I shoot with a Sony.
Cool.
Yeah, and the current one I have is an A7S or A7R4.
Nice. Have you always been a Sony guy?
No, I've actually gone through Canon, Nikon, and then I've now finally landed on Sony. And I think I might be Sony for life. We'll see.
Really?
See what happens. Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Well, for adventure photography, Sonys are really small. They're full frame, but super small. So if you're going somewhere, you want to have something lightweight, but also that you can squeeze into a bag or squeeze somewhere. And then also they have really good low light sensors. So we tend to do a lot of early mornings, sunrise stuff or dark weather. So it's always good to have a sensor that can handle that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Okay.
You've also said that you can tell some great stories with just an iPhone photo too, right, Stephen?
Right. Yeah. I think it might be on my website. I think it's later in the slide, but I always say that it's not about the camera you have. It's about the knowing how to use what you have. So you don't need the best equipment to take good images. And I think probably 80% of a good image is about composition, not about what camera you have. So some people can really nail it with just an iPhone. So
it sounds like it's more important to spend your time working on your craft as opposed to spend your money on investing in the highest quality gear and the top-notch equipment.
Totally. Yeah, very correct. Don't go for the next best thing. Usually an iPhone is great because it fits in your pocket and you can whip it out. So I think they're only going to get better, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, iPhones sometimes take better photos on my camera, so.
Right. For sure.
Sweet. Well, let's move on to the next slide then here. Looks like this is part of the snow expedition that you guys did. Tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, this is my friend Josh melting snow on Denali. I think this is at 17,000 feet. I don't completely remember. But yeah, so this little over a year ago, Josh and I did a ski mountaineering, kind of mini expedition, I guess, to Denali and got our first taste of what, real expedition style ski mountaineering climbing is. Spent 9 days just living on the glacier and melting snow and carrying food around and towing sleds for a while and, sitting out whiteouts and things like that. And, we really got quite good conditions, really good conditions overall, and generally good weather. Got stormed in for a few days here and there, but for the most part, it was it was really great weather. And, you know, I still realize that expedition style climbing, hanging out in the tent and on the snow and not seeing anything green for a long time, I really don't think that's for me in general. But it was a really fun experience. It was really cool to get out there and get into that, you know, enormous range and on that huge, beautiful mountain.
So JT, you now you consider yourself you're a guide here in Portland, like kind of this evolution of like you as in the outdoors and how you've kind of accumulated all these different skills. Like, how did this fit into kind of your path to where you're at today?
Yeah, I guess I just, you know, running has been a long-term thread for me. I started running in middle school and have run ever since. So, you know, I had that sort of long distance, like running and somewhat of a trail running background. And then as after I graduated college, I started to get more into backpacking and climbing and snowboarding, and then eventually skiing and ski mountaineering. And I guess it's been like a really gradual progression of just exploring different skills or different, you know, experiences that have appealed to me. I've, you know, realized after a while of exploring these different things that what ties it all together is just moving through big, beautiful landscapes. So, you know, I really like being in my body. I really like the feeling of running and moving and passing through these big landscapes. And so I've just explored different skills that enable me to do that in different ways, and, you know, tried things and kind of swung back and forth until I'm, you know, getting closer all the time to finding the type of, you know, hobbies that I most enjoy, I guess. But the thread that ties it all together is moving in the mountains, and I enjoy exploring different ways of doing that.
And you've been running I guess, since middle school is what you said. How long have you been skiing for? Is ski mountaineering up on Denali? I mean, that definitely takes some skill.
Yeah, I've been, you know, I started snowboarding when I was a kid, and then started skiing. I guess it was probably like, you know, almost 15 years ago. But it's been like a really gradual thing as well. Like, I guess I really got into skiing and ski mountaineering like 6 years ago when I moved back to the Northwest. I was living in Colorado for a while, and yeah, it's just such an amazing place to ski mountaineer, the Northwest. We have these incredible volcanoes, and it's a really fun way to explore and try out these different things. You know, you get to climb, and then you get to ski down and have fun. And
yeah, and in the spring you can go run too.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I think we got one more photo here. Some bridge jumping. That's what I like to see. That looks fun. Yeah, where's this? If you guys care to divulge that information, and kind of tell us a little bit about this adventure here.
Secret location. This is actually North Umpqua Trail. It's a trip I just did this past weekend, actually. We bike packed from the top near the Mola Lake Resort all the way down to the bottom at Swiftwater Bridge, and tried to jump in the water as much as possible on the way down. Yeah, it's about 70 miles, and we did 3 days and 2 nights. So
wow. So
Nice.
Steven, you kind of, I mean, you're a photographer, videographer by profession, but and typically in this space, you kind of have a niche, but it seems like you kind of do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I don't want to be locked in on one thing, and I like everything. So I think most people probably know me from race photography with ultra running, but really that's like 5% of what I really do for work. So it's funny because people expect me to just do ultra running all the time, but actually I really love biking. I used to race mountain bikes when I was in high school, younger. So I was away from it for a while, but recently have gone back into it. But yeah, this was a fun trip, very challenging trail in places. I think the first day we had to pull our bikes over at least 30 fallen trees. But then after that, the last 2 days was pretty smooth sailing as far as trees go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these
And
kind of
how's that?
adventures are a lot of fun.
How high is that bridge?
It was only like 20, 25 feet. So we, I actually, it's a funny story. We set our bikes up against this bridge to we were looking at if we were going to jump in or not. I kind of had stripped down to my underwear because I was like, I think I'm going to jump in. And then my bike tipped over and my helmet fell off the bridge into the water and started going downstream. And there was like a place where like I was going to lose my helmet. So I just was like, I guess I got to jump in. So I leaped off the bridge and swam after it and got it just in time. So everyone was cheering for me to get my helmet. It was a fun scene. But
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think yeah. For those tuning in, like if you get a chance to look back at Steven's kind of album, you just recently posted them, but like got a number of pictures there, and you speak to like your everything's very much people based. Like you have some really awesome shots in there from that trip that just really bring it to life in like a very personal way that I think was, for me, it was really engaging. So more of a comment here, but your tastefulness there is great. So. How does so like with all your camera gear, do you pack a lot of camera gear on a trip like this, or is it bare bones minimum on this iPhone? That's it.
This one I had a camera body with 2 lenses,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had I think 2 batteries and 1 extra card just in case something goes wrong. But yeah, I try to pick my lenses wisely, and hopefully I won't be going, oh, I should have brought the other lens. Yeah, I try to keep it pretty minimal. I have a little fanny pack. It's a waterproof Patagonia pack that kind of goes on all my adventures with me, and it's just enough to fit a lens and a camera body with the lens. So it's perfect for all the adventures I got to do. So.
Are you shooting with mirrorless?
Yeah, I'm doing a mirrorless full frame. Yeah.
Yeah, the mirrorless is way more compact than some of the other, like the Canon T6s and stuff.
Definitely, yeah. You used to work with SLRs, and they're also really noisy too, because you got the mirror flipping up and down. So sometimes I'm able to get better pictures because people don't hear me as well. So I'm not like pulling them away. It's like, well, what was that noise? You know?
Yeah.
Kind of be like a sniper in the woods.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a great trip. I recommend it. I recommend that you make sure you've got your bicycling chops handled though. You got to make sure, because there's some technical sections for sure. So
Cool. Well, I think with that, I think we're done with this segment, and we'll move on to talking about your FKT, JT.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ooh.
Sweet. Well, first off, congrats on holding the FKT for about a week.
Almost, it was 2. It was over 2 weeks.
2? Cool. Even better. But yeah, how'd that go for you? Tell us kind of walk us through how you felt during that. Any information or anything that stood out to you while you were on the ride or on the run?
Yeah. Wild ride. I guess, just to kind of start things off, like what made me want to do it was I really love the Loowit Trail. I really love Mount St. Helens. And this photo here is from the Volcanic 50, which is a race that Go Beyond puts on every year except for this one. And so I had this cool connection to the trail as the first volcano that I'd ran around, and I had a great experience at the race. And so I set the goal of getting the FKT on this route this year as something to motivate me and something to think about. So I set that around March was when I started really thinking about it. And then fast forward to several months later when you asked about the actual run itself, and I got a really good day to do it, really cool and misty. And I had some friends show up to support me, camp out before and then be there at the finish line. And that was really amazing. Steven was there and a couple other friends. And it was really great to know that, they were there and hanging out and waiting for me. And that was huge. Like that was big in my mind as I was running around this thing, and helped a lot with motivation. Just to know that I, wasn't out there completely alone and going to get back to my van and also be alone.
Yeah.
that was big. I'd never taken on something quite like this before, just trying to run as fast as I could by myself. So, it's a different element versus being in a race, just like staying motivated and trying to stay on pace and things like that. So, I got some advice from some other people, from Rachel and Tyler and from Dylan and Yassine and Eric, people who have run the previous FKTs on the course. And that was really helpful, just to, know how to plot pace and how to pick out some landmarks. And, Dylan, the guy who had the FKT before me, was nice enough to post his run on Strava, so I could, see exactly what he'd done and have that to compare against. Had my watch to know whether I was on pace, things like that. And I'd also done a trip here, led a backpacking trip the week before. Stephen was on that trip as well, as we talked about earlier. So I had a good opportunity to scout the course. And then it was just a question of being out there and having fun with it. Like, I really tried to enjoy it. I really tried to look around and, take in the mountain as I was going around it, and, got some cheers from hikers and things as I was running by. And that was really cool. And, I guess knowing the mountain and knowing the course pretty well made me feel like I was really, connected to it. Like, I knew what was coming, and it made it really fun. It was like something to look forward to.
So JT, as far as this trail goes, what kind of walk us through? It's 30 miles, quite a bit of elevation gain. What is the different, break down kind of the segments of it that stand out to you as this run progresses?
Yeah, it is a really varied trail for sure. And you go through a bunch of different climate zones. And of course, being a circumnav, you see all the aspects of the mountain as you're going around it. So you start at Climber's Bivouac, and generally it seems like the way FKTs generally work is somebody establishes the route, and, as long as it's a pretty logical route, then people who go after follow that route. So the FKT on the Loowit Trail starts from Climber's Bivouac, and you do this big climb through the trees, get up to the Loowit Trail itself. So it's like a lollipop with a short stem. And then you're in a big boulder field, and you're just hopping across these boulders for quite a while. You loop around the mountain, you drop into this big canyon, Tootle Canyon. And then you have a big gravel climb, and you're climbing up towards the mountain, big sandy soft climb. And that's where you really start wrapping around into the blowout zone. So you wrap around to the north side, and then it's all, still pretty decimated from the volcanic eruption. And it's just kind of rolly and scrappy and rocky. And, the trail in general, you're looking at one of the nicest sections of it here for sure. In general, it's got a lot of rock, it's got a lot of boulder fields, it's got a lot of sand. It's really, the times on it are quite slow in general for a 30-mile race. If you look at volcanic 50 times, they're quite slow compared to other 50Ks, just because it's so rough and there's quite a bit of climbing. But yeah, you wrap around the north side blast zone, you climb through a pass, and you're out on the Plains of Abraham on the east side, which is really flowy and smooth and open. You have some sections that are treed and really pretty dense, but for the most part, unlike a lot of Pacific Northwest trails, it's open, and you get these expansive views of the mountain and the other volcanoes that are around, and it's really quite varied.
So was there any part of the trail, I think two kind of questions for you here. Is there any part of the trail that you just dreaded? You're just I am not looking forward to that section. And then at what point did you realize, okay, I got a chance at this FKT, I'm in the running for it, and let's go?
Yeah. I was really dreading the climb at the very end. So going clockwise like I did, you have this not technical, but pretty big climb, right before you drop down to Climber's Bivouac there. So I knew I was going to be tired at that point, and I wasn't, I was just dreading having to push up that climb, being super tired. I guess another thing I wasn't sure how it was going to go is the north side. It's really like windy and lots of like random rocks and stuff. And I was thinking that that was going to feel slow, but it actually ended up feeling pretty good. And as far as like having knowing whether I had a shot at it, you know, when I started, I was like checking my splits every 5 miles, which is where I'd written down, you know, what I needed to hit. And I was like ahead of pace, but you never really know like how well your body's going to hold up or how good you're going to feel as you go along. So I started to feel like really pretty good about it when I hit the junction at Plains of Abraham. So this is after Windy Pass. It's on the east side, and you have some really like good smooth trail after that, and only about 10 miles to go. That's when I really started to feel like I had a shot at it, and you know, started to really get stoked.
Did you have a specific time or pace that you were trying to shoot for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really wanted to get under 5 hours. Was my goal. Missed that though.
Barely. Well, to touch on that, Tyler Green, who ended up getting the FKT from you just a few days ago, did it in under 5 hours. Would you go back and try to take it back?
Yeah, I think so at some point. I don't know how long it'll take me to get back there, honestly. It's not a huge thing to me to like go after this FKT in particular. But it's definitely, you know, inspiring, exciting, motivating, aggravating.
Yeah. How did it initially feel when you found that out? Or did you know he was going out to do that?
I did know. He told me that he was going out to try for it, and yeah, like it didn't feel great at all. You know, like I don't know. It made me think a lot about like why I do this and like what are the important, you know, things about it. But yeah, there's definitely a big part of me that was just like, oh shit, I was really, you know, I knew someone was going to run faster at some point. But I was just hoping to have it a little longer, I guess. And there's definitely a part of me that it's like, oh yeah, I really like looking at that mountain and knowing that like I'm the fastest one to run around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's really good, I think, to just like think about the reasons that we do those things and like what does it really mean if someone else runs faster on, you know, some mountain course? Like, does that change like what I did and what that should mean to me? Like, I don't think so. And overall, I think it's great. I think it's awesome that he's out there pushing it and going after it and inspiring, you know, other people to go faster and pushing me. And yeah, so I guess that, to sum it up, lots of things come up.
Yeah, I can imagine. I appreciated the post that you made about that and kind of diving into that as well.
Hey,
Yeah,
I want to bring Steven on for a second too. First question, Steven. You spent a ton of time with JT. And from the moments I've gotten to know him over the last short while, like he seems like a pretty humble guy. Give us a little brag for JT for a moment here.
JT is a genetic phenomenon. No, we were talking about this and how can other people kind of relate to this kind of effort that he's doing? He is a really humble guy because he's thinking fast. And if you were to talk to him after a race, he's there after a race or something, just hanging out with everybody, and you wouldn't even know that he was a winner sometimes because he's just sitting down chatting with everybody. I think what he won't admit is like he runs because he loves to run. It's not about trying to get fast times or whatnot. His training schedule isn't like a set thing. He just runs how he feels, you know? A lot of us kind of get stressed out about, I got to train this many miles every week in order to be able to do this race. And JT just kind of was like, well, I'm going to try to get fit, but when I get there, I'll just see how fast I can go, you know? And I think that's an approach we can all learn from, you know, and try to enjoy running a little bit more and not feel like it should stress us out. and that's something I've learned from him myself, I feel like. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you joined JT on a number of circumnavs, right? Correct?
On a number of runs, not circumnavs necessarily,
Yeah.
but yeah, we've done a lot of stuff together.
Nice. And what's been your favorite run with him?
Oh boy. Well, recently, I guess not recently, a little while ago, we did zigzag
Nice.
area, and there was a lot of snow, so we were just kind of navigating and hoping that we were going the right way, and having fun, getting our feet soaked. It was great. Yeah, sliding down. I think actually there was a one shot that JT skied shoe skied down, and then I was like, I'm gonna take pictures as I'm skiing down behind you, and then he took pictures of me skiing down, taking pictures. So we had these cool shots of us going at each other, and then I of course crashed and had snow just caked in my lens. But
Huge digger, yeah.
But I think for us, we always try to keep it light. We're always just breaking out in British accents and acting like dummies, and just trying to enjoy it a little bit more.
It really sounds like it's a playtime out there, really. Whatever the time is, it is.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. We have a lot of fun with it.
So for those tuning in tonight, I know there's a couple messages from people who signed up and are hopefully joining us tonight. But other Pacific Northwest, just kind of volcano circumnav kind of trail runs. Do you guys have any other favorites that stand out in your mind?
Yes. Yeah, that's something that I really love about the Pacific Northwest are these beautiful volcanoes. They're so unique, and being able both climbing and circumnavigating them is a really amazing way to see these awesome places. And I really like most of the Pacific Northwest volcano circumnavs, and there's trails for most of them. So yeah, they're worth checking out. And I've backpacked and run around most of at least the Oregon, Washington volcanoes. But yeah, I love the Timberline Trail on Mount Hood. The Loowit Trail is probably my favorite overall. Just love the mountain and the course, and have this cool connection to it.
Although JT, your one complaint with Loowit is that there's not enough swimming holes.
It's a big negative.
It's a big negative on the Loowit. Swimming holes are high on the list of priorities.
They are, and it's dry.
Doesn't FKT include a swim in a high mountain lake?
Well, it should. Yeah, not this one, but you could make a new one. I think you just have to submit a new segment or something. Yeah, that'd be a great one. Something that we were talking about earlier is the Adams circumnavigation.
Yeah.
That one comes up quite a bit. Just questions about that. And this was one of the circumnavigations that Stephen could have been on, but he was showing a film at the mountain shop that evening, and he wasn't sure if he was going to get back in time. And I think I reassured him that he would, but he didn't believe me. And so another friend of ours, Ben, and I went out and tried circumnavigating Adams. And Adams has a little bit of an off-trail section on the east side, and so it requires some navigation. There's some other sort of hazards over there with route finding and things like that. And we both felt pretty competent with taking that on, and I guess a little too complacent, because on that east side section we ended up getting separated, and there's some big canyons and a lot of river noise over there, and we just got a little bit separated. But then we couldn't find each other, and we ended up being separated for 8 hours without being able to communicate. I didn't know where he was, and he didn't know where I was, and I ended up running ahead and running back and looking all around, and I was really worried that something might happen to him. And I didn't know how set up he was for navigation or knowing the route or anything like that. And it was really just a stupid little mistake of letting ourselves get a little bit separated, and then all of a sudden it felt like it turned really serious. So there are some things to consider on adventures like this, especially ones that are off trail. really want to be dialed in with navigation and communicating with your partners and understanding like where they're at and what they know and what they don't know, and not make assumptions about what your roles are going to be, things like that. So we learned a lot from that experience, and that's a really amazing circumnavigation, but you want to be ready for what you're getting into.
And that east side, so if I'm understanding right, it's kind of part of the Yakima Indian Reservation, correct?
It is, yeah.
And so it's actually and a lot of people have the question of being able to have access to that. How does that work?
Yeah, there's like I think it's like a $5 day use permit fee. So you have, I think they're working on like an online system for that, but I would recommend just calling the Indian reservation and, figuring out if there's a way you can do it without showing up. I think they have registration possible at the trailhead, but you wouldn't generally visit that trailhead to do the circumnav. So I'm sorry, I don't have any like better or more current information, but that's what I got.
And as far as that one goes, what's kind of your mileage, and do you remember your mileage and kind of elevation on that one?
For Adams?
Yeah.
I think it's somewhere around 30 miles. It might be a little bit less actually.
Okay.
And for the vert, I'm not sure. I haven't actually tracked it, but I would guess it's in the range of, like most of these 5,000 to 8,000.
Yeah.
Vert.
So you've Loowit's your favorite. You've done a little bit on Adams, which you've had a little bit of a route finding and disconnect from your partner, Ben. Timberline, you've done a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
backpacking and running. Yeah.
And how's the Timberline Trail?
It's great. Yeah, it's like somewhere right around 40 miles. It's really in general, good trail. It's got quite a bit of vert, and a little bit of sand and stuff like that, but for the most part the trail is really good, better than Loowit for sure in terms of ease of running. But yeah, there's
water spots.
There's pretty good
water. Lots of water spots.
Yeah, good swimming options. Not really swimming, but at least you can stand under a waterfall, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's it's our local mountain. I think there's something special about looking up at Mount Hood every day and then climbing it and skiing it or running around it. I really love that.
So before we move to kind of talk about more Steven's photography, do you have any other running objectives or anything that's kind of lingering in the distance that you want to accomplish?
I'm really excited to get into more fast packing. So just like running and really light backpacking. So I've been exploring that a little bit just last weekend, gonna get out on a trip this weekend. So I think that's kind of what I'm most excited about right now, is just combining some really lightweight backpacking with running and exploring a new way of exploring the mountains.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. Fast packing now definitely it's on my list too.
Yeah.
Nice.
He just did you do Jefferson Wilderness that you were at this last week?
Yeah. Went up to Mount Jefferson Wilderness and did like a 60-mile, just like this big, really cool loop in one night just for, like a weekend thing. And, I don't say just to like minimize that, like difficulty or whatever, but it did feel like really amazing to be able to like get out and go light and be able to see quite a bit of terrain, in a weekend, without a ton of stress on the body, without having to be like a really, epic adventure or anything. Yeah. And just like the things that you can put together when you start to experiment with, moving in these different ways, I think is something that really inspires me, being able to, solve the puzzle, put together a route, see some really cool terrain.
Yeah, that's always fun. We do have a question from the audience actually before moving on. Have you ever done the Wonderland Trail?
Yeah, I have done the Wonderland Trail a couple times, and I've done it backpacking. So I've backpacked it in 5 days, which was really cool, except for, it wasn't cool. It would be really cool if you got good weather. But it was like snowing and raining on me the whole time. And I was like experimenting with light backpacking at this time. I was just like starting to get into it. And I pitched my tent with just the footprint and the fly, so it wasn't, you know, sealed, no mesh or anything. And I remember at one point I was like huddled in my tent, the snow's like falling off the trees and hitting the tent, and I'm like, the only thing that's semi-dry is my sleeping bag, and I'm like laying there trying to go to sleep, and this mouse like comes in my tent and like runs across my face and runs off, and I was just like, oh, I hate this. It's like halfway through. And then I've run it in 3 days, and I actually ran it on with a friend, and so his wife and brother supported us, so they set up camps at a couple different places around the mountain, Mowich and White River, which works really well to split it up into 3 equidistant days. And that was an amazing way to see it. We got like incredible weather, and we just had these super light packs, and we had camp set up when we got there, which was substantial improvement.
Yeah, it sounds like it, from mice and snow and being cold and wet.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's move on to kind of talk more about your photography here, Stephen, because you're definitely a very accomplished photographer and videographer. Yeah, if you just want to kind of tell us some more about like your company, your career, and like the photography that you enjoy doing.
Yeah. So yeah, I do photography and videography. Probably the mostly more on the video side, actually. But I tend to do. I got into it because I was like, I'm going to go to Hollywood and make movies. But then I realized that I like to document stuff more. I like to show real people and real situations. And you could also, I feel like, impact people more in that way. So yeah, I just started pursuing that side of things. And then that led to what I do now. So I got a really good opportunity about 4 years ago. If you remember the film One Step at a Time with Yassine Daboon, Travis Lyles, Scott Lockney, they were running across the Oregon PCT and trying to get the record, the FKT on that. And they just hit me up and said, hey, do you want to document this? And I was like, okay, I've never done anything this big before, but yeah, I'll do it. I had my friend Bryson join me as a filmmaker, and that was a really cool experience because we didn't really know what we were doing, but we were just following along as they were doing this amazing effort on the PCT. Yeah, so I think a lot of what I like to do is see people do amazing things. I got to see JT do this most recent FKT, and so it's kind of, in a way, it's like I get to live vicariously through these athletes, because like I know I can't do this, I can't do what they're doing, but I get to kind of experience it with them in the moment, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. How does it feel to be a part of something like that?
So cool. It's so cool when they make it, and it's so sad when they don't make it if it's going for a record. You just feel all the emotions with them. And for JT, like seeing him come through at the end, when he's kind of had that goal to get the FKT since February, really. It was really cool to see him go through and be like, yes, kind of. JT doesn't like usually show a ton of emotion out loud, but man, he was pretty stoked after that one. So that was cool.
Nice. Yeah. I bet it's a pretty good experience to kind of see people go through that and the trials and tribulations that they face during those times.
Yeah. So Stephen, on something like that, like how do you, you're gonna try and document JT on this mission for the FKT. Like, what kind of planning goes in it for you, like to actually like capture the right moments in your vision of the product, the video that you'd put out at the end?
Yeah, so we did make a piece from this. We're gonna be releasing it in about 2 weeks on the 19th.
Cool.
And for this one, JT just called me up. I was like, I'm gonna do this, man. Feel free to come take pictures. And I was like, can I make a video about you, man? And he's like, yes, I guess so. So immediately my mind was like taking through, like, how can we tell the story in a new way or in a unique way? Because we've all seen the trail running film festivals, or at least a lot of us have, and sometimes the storytelling gets a little old or it's very similar. So the goal for this one was really finding a new way to approach it. So hopefully we did that. When you do see it, you'll see that. But the approach to filming was more like, I've gone around the Loowit a few times myself before we had filmed this, and I knew it was a really varied trail, tons of terrain, and it's hard to do it justice on video because there's just so much variety. So the goal really was, how can we show a little bit of every part of the mountain? And if you were to do it in real time as he's running, then you would need like 15 camera guys out there. You like to each spot, because there's just no way you can do that. And that's not realistic. So what we ended up doing was, we filmed him starting, we filmed him finishing, and then the next 2 days we backpacked the whole trail and we filmed him at these different spots. Because more than showing the accuracy of him doing it in real time was to show how incredible the feat is that he's doing, and these features that he's going across and around, and how amazing Loowit really is as a mountain and as a place. So hopefully we captured that well, and you guys can chime in 2 weeks when we release the film. So
Cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
And you say did you have some help as well with that, or is it just you shooting it?
Yeah, so my friend Ethan Burke, who's I actually went to college with, and
Cool.
he's a cinematographer, brought him along to help out. And then we had some close friends, Meredith McEntee and Nick. What's Nick's last name?
Wagner.
Nick Wagner. I think he's actually in the call. So cool. Hi, Nick. They came out and helped too and supported, and it was awesome. So a small crew, but we got it done.
Yeah. And that's got to be something. I mean, as an adventure photographer and someone who's, involved in, you're not only doing, in many cases, you're doing the adventure, but then you're also having to document it. Like, how do you balance that in prepping and then actually telling the story authentically to what it is on any of these adventures?
Yeah, it's tough. You have to just be in the moment and trying to make sure that you're not forcing anything on people, and you're being as honest as possible. And also, I mean, one thing we wanted to be careful with was, this is the land of the Cowlitz people. And so honoring that too, honoring this land that we're kind of taking advantage of for our own, I guess, honor. So I think that was important to us as well. And I think for people who are listening, it's important to know that, like, JT and I, we both have we have regular lives. we have to work on the weekdays usually. I'm usually editing or doing like a boring job for some city government video project, because I don't just do this only. So it's not like we're above everybody else in this. We try to adventure when we can on the weekends, and JT was able to get that Friday off, so he could run the route on that weekend. So it's not impossible for anybody to adventure and enjoy life along with a normal life, I think. So
Yeah, lots of normal times, lots of down times, lots of just like training and getting ready for things like that. Lots of build up, I guess, lots of behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, that's important to.
Yeah, Instagram is just all lies. If you just follow that, like it looks like people are just always on adventures, which is not true. But if you go on one adventure and take 7 photos, they'll last for the week, right? So you can look like you're on an adventure all week long, and it's great. But yeah, I have the same troubles everyone else has with a dog that's barking all the time and my kid who wants to go play. So we're normal.
So JT, I got now I'm going to flip the script. I know I asked Steven to brag about you. Now it's your opportunity to brag about Steven.
Oh, good. I love this.
There we go.
I'm gonna hide away now.
Yeah, I think what really impresses me about Steven professionally is his ability to tell stories in ways that, that I'm not expecting and that I'm not used to seeing. So things like race photography, I always tell him this, and he never seems to believe me. But if you've done a race and seen race photos, you've seen a picture of everyone from the first point, a picture of everyone from the second point, a picture of everyone from the third point, and that's your race photos. A picture of everyone at the finish line. And Steven does a really good job of moving around on the course and on race day and at each different point and capturing all these different perspectives. And so when you're looking through his race photos, which you can at daybreakracing.com, posts all of his race photos that he shoots for free. It's really fun looking through them, even if you're not looking for yourself, or even if you didn't do the race, because he does such a good job of capturing the experience. So he has story is everything on his website, and I think he does a great job of visual storytelling and bringing you into that experience. And I love it when he's shot my Alpenflow trips, and even when we're on experiences together, I love getting back and looking through his photos, because they always bring out things that I wasn't seeing or wasn't expecting, or these like little details that really make the experience memorable to me. And then personally, I just really appreciate how much Steven gives to other people. I think it's really incredible how, he really enjoys building other people up. And some of my friends always try to get photos of me when I'm in my, at my like worst, which like there's something to be said for that too. But I think Steven is always looking to find the best in people and find a positive perspective to show experiences from, and he's always looking to elevate other people and not himself. So if you look at most people's Instagrams, it's a lot of photos of them looking badass and doing some really cool stuff, and Steven generally uses his platform to showcase the best in other people, which I really love. And he's really giving. He's just been really generous with his time and with his abilities, for me and for other people in the community as well. So yeah, Steven's great. He's
Thanks,
easy to
bud.
brag about. Yeah, buddy.
I love it. I love it, man. I think that's one of my favorite questions in this, because you guys work, it sounds like really closely together, and you both are extremely humble. And as I've gotten to know both of you, like you're not going to be the first to brag about yourselves, but you both do some pretty amazing work and accomplishments in just general adventure. So props to you guys. Very props to you guys for sure. So I think Zan, jump into our next segment here, where I think we bring both of you together.
Yeah, moving into shifting gears to talk about Alpenflow a bit here.
Yeah.
JT started Alpenflow in 2018. Can you tell us a bit about what your business is, what the community is, how it started?
Yeah, for sure. And I know we're getting close to time here, so I'll keep it brief. But basically, Alpenflow exists to use wilderness experiences as a way to inspire, empower, and support people to be their best selves. So there's lots of different ways that can manifest, and I'm still, still absolutely experimenting and working with, what that looks like and different ways of actually, tangibly accomplishing that. But so far I've done some trail running workshops, done a backpacking trip here that you see on the Loowit Trail, done some virtual navigation classes, and also done some community events. So back when we were, doing group runs, I was doing a bi-weekly free community run, and I've done some community picnics since. And, basically it's just looking for different ways to get people to think about what kinds of adventures they might want to have, give them the tools that they need to actually go out and have those adventures, and build a supportive community around them so that, they don't feel alone, and they can, find adventure partners easily. And, I can lead trips so that, there's someone to ask questions, and basically someone to help facilitate experiences that people want to have. Because, I've found wilderness experiences to be such a transformative and empowering thing. I really want to share that with other people in whatever way I can.
yeah, that goes great with kind of our message here and the adventure mates and everything. So it's cool to have you on here to share about Alpenflow as well. And then Steven, what kind of role do you play in Alpenflow?
I'm the hype man. I do.
And
Darn good at it too.
That's right. That's right. Key.
I just support JT with what he's doing because it's pretty cool. Yeah, and I think early on I knew that starting your own thing is not super easy, and for him a lot of it is people need some visuals to see what he's doing, and so that's something I have to offer. So I was really happy to contribute that to him, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's not unselfish. I get to join him on these cool trips, which is so cool. So it's a fun balance where he gets some out of it, I get some out of it. So,
and JT, you just recently launched kind of a poll to on the Instagram and then on your site too, because you're poking at what kind of the next trips you're kind of seeking for interest on. What were those, and maybe we'll get someone to respond if anybody's interested in what they would vote for, but we'll see if anybody's actually tuning into the chat.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for asking. Yeah. I mean, I'm always really, as anyone who's like been to my community runs or trips or anything knows, I'm always looking for feedback, and I love getting like emails and, messages and things like that about what people want. And I am really curious about, what is truly valuable for people and how I can be useful. So yeah, I did a couple different polls around a few options for trips, and basically they were day trail running and navigation trip. So with most of my trips, other than the community more casual stuff, I teach navigation and how to plan a trip, group dynamics, how to deal with off-trail travel, nutrition, hydration, all the things that might come up when you're out on a wilderness adventure, because my goal is to touch on all of the different things that you need to get out on those experiences, so that someone can come out of my trips and feel, confident, either, going on that trip or at least knowing what they need to learn to get to the point where they can. So the different sort of trips that I had in mind for that are a trail running day trip, a short camping trip. So it'd be like a night car camping and then doing some trail running somewhere in the Mount Margaret backcountry, most likely, or potentially the Loowit Trail. Doing a longer, more remote, but still car camping based running trip around somewhere like Anthony Lake, somewhere where there's lots of different trails to explore, having a base camp a little further from Portland, and then doing a fast and light style backpacking trip, which is what you see here on the Loowit Trail. That one would likely be in the Olympics, although I have some options for where that could be. But yeah, basically sort of increasing in terms of commitment and wilderness depth and price, basically, because I'm trying to figure out where that sweet spot is. And I got a lot of feedback around a night or maybe two of like car camping and trail running sort of being the sweet spot for what most people were looking for. But yeah, I welcome any kind of input with the chat here or through email or DMs if that's your thing.
and I think I provided, I think Steven and JT, I think I in the chats to everybody that's here tonight, I listed your guys' URL so they could hopefully find you. I know JT, it's just alpenflow.com, and then same thing, Steven Mortinson at .com as well too, right guys?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And I know that survey is up on your website right now, JT?
Yeah, if you go to alpenflow.com, there'll be a bar at the top of the page that you can click on and take that. And sign up for my email list too. That's the best way to find out that's the most sure way to find out about what the next trips are. And feel free to drop me an email or anything.
Cool. And if you do go on one of the trips, you're going to probably have Steven there if you can wrangle him in to shoot some of those nice strawberry shots of you out on the trail.
Gosh, I hope we find strawberries. We'll see. Be September, late August, September. So, but yeah,
maybe some salmon berries.
There we go. yeah, hoping to be able to get Steven along, and it seems pretty likely. So
Yes, please sign me up.
Well, I mean, it's pretty cool. How's in Alpenflow for the next couple months? You know, it's a little bit of a weird time. Like,
so weird, by the way.
It's not an easy one by any means. But any big hopes and dreams for Alpenflow in the we'll say next 2 years for you?
Yeah, good question. I really want to keep building it and keep honing in on how I can be the most valuable to people. That's really what I want to explore, and whether that's the most value to the most people with more articles and more resources, or whether it's providing some really deep value to a few people with these trips. I want to explore it in a way that's fun and meaningful and expressive for me and valuable to other people. So I guess for the next couple of years, if I could build it up as something that is looked to in the community as a really useful resource, that'd be great.
Great. Well, that's awesome. No, it's just fun. It's fun to see both of you guys. I think, I mean, Steven with your videography, photography business, and then JT with Alpenflow, like, I think that it makes you guys just so unique in the sense, like, you're breaking FKTs, but yet, I mean, you're starting your own thing. So it's really fun to just follow your guys' stories, and in both cases. So keep up the inspiration. Keep the stoke alive in Portland for us.
Thanks, Marshall.
Yeah, heck cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. And it's awesome to hear from you guys and get emails or messages or comments, whatever that means a lot. I think both of us like to hear that we're doing something that's interesting, useful, valuable to people.
For sure. Yeah, and also a little plug here. We're working with Brett Farrell at Territory Runco to release the film in 2 weeks of JT's FKT, and we're not charging anything for it at all, but we are going to be supporting Big City Mountaineers for any donations that want to go in for that, which is a pretty cool organization. But yeah, stay tuned. We'll be posting on our social channels and whatnot about that, but would love to have you join in on that and kind of celebrate what JT accomplished. Even if it did get beat, it's still second fastest guy. It was the fastest person in July. So yeah, July of 2020, he was still the fastest person around the mountain. So it's pretty amazing.
All of late July 2020.
Yeah, definitely join in on that.
Sweet.
I want to know when you're doing your next photography class, Steven.
We'll see. Someday.
He needs to hear about it. So reach out if you want a photography class, and Steven teaches a great one. I was lucky enough to be able to join for one, but he's potentially open to doing that in the future. So maybe if you twist his arm.
Let's do it.
If I get enough demand, maybe I'll put something together again. We'll see.
All right, you heard that. Start demanding. Well, yeah, I just got one quick question before we close this out. It kind of goes back to just you guys and running. Music or no music?
No music for me.
Music for me. I'm audiobook.
Ooh, nice.
I like audiobooks.
Why do you choose no music, JT?
Yeah, I used to run with music growing up. That was like part of my ritual for sure. Just go out and listen to music. I actually listened to Snoop Dogg's radio show. I remember on Sunday nights. This was like my long run jam. But yeah, now I feel like I listen to things and have like stimulation, and I sort of feel semi-distracted so much of the time that I really enjoy just like setting that aside and going out and trying to focus on what I'm actually doing. And so I guess I just haven't been in the habit, and I enjoy not having anything else when I'm running.
Yeah. I asked because I was curious because I've been kind of playing with that too, of listening to music or having music with me in case like I get to a low spot and I need something to like pick me up, or like listening to audiobooks is something I do as well. But yeah, I was curious because I've been in my own little turmoil of whether running with music or without music is better.
Yeah, tough one.
I say if you're running in the city, music is nice. If you're running in the trails, I prefer not to have it.
Yeah.
And Steven, what's the most recent book that you've listened to on the trails?
Ooh.
Catching you on that one. Sorry.
Or one that you would recommend someone
Yes.
listens to while running.
There we go.
Well, actually, I did listen to, there's the pretty popular book Wild that they made a movie about, and I had never read the book. So I just listened to the book instead. And that was good. I kind of like, I'm not like JT, I'm not a purist. I didn't grow up running. And I kind of need a distraction. I enjoy running sometimes, but also sometimes I need something to get me not thinking about the pain in my legs or my lungs. So I like to have something to distract me from time to time. But I would say for trail running and a long distance stuff, if I'm like out in the wilderness, I won't listen to anything at all because that's your time to kind of escape and be in the wilderness. But if I'm in like Forest Park, I'll tend to listen to stuff more often. So
cool. And any good trail running advice for anyone tuning in? Besides just do it.
Yeah, I think having fun with it is really important, and slowing down if it's not fun. That's something like I've learned that's really helped a lot. You know, if I try and hold myself to a particular pace and go out and, you know, and I'm not enjoying it, if I just slow down and recapture the fun of the movement, even if it means walking for a while, that's something that's really helped me to keep going. And the other thing that I would say is, you know, if you're getting into trail running, just be really careful about how you build up your mileage. And it's a long game for sure. And I don't know, it's really exciting and inspiring to see things that people are doing and just want to run far, but you can get injured pretty easily if you build up your mileage too quick. So just be patient and build up your mileage slowly and enjoy it. Those are my two quick tips.
And I say the opposite. If you're not having fun, run faster. Sometimes it's fun to run fast too.
Find a downhill.
Find a downhill.
Oh, it's definitely fun to downhill. Yeah, I think that's a good point because with JT was slowing down and enjoying yourself. I think Steven did you good justice there in saying that he appreciates that you kind of take the lighter side and try to really enjoy yourself out there. And yeah, if you're not enjoying yourself, why do it?
Exactly.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's why we're doing these silly things.
Right on. Well, before we close it out, what's next for you guys for the rest of 2020? Any big plans? Anything going on with Alpenflow that you want to plug? Anything going on with your photography, Steven?
Yeah, I'm going to be running another trip or potentially two late August, September. So, you know, like we were talking about, getting those figured out, but super excited about those. And that's a big one for me. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing some more mountain biking here at the end of the summer. So, finding some good nearby trails. There's a lot that I haven't explored very much. So that's me in the adventure scale. And I'd love to do Timberline this summer, but we'll see if it fits in.
Hey, well, if me and Liz end up going out and doing it again, we'll be sure to let you know.
Hit me up. Yeah. I'd love to join you. I've only ever done it at nighttime. So I'd like to do a daytime run on it sometime. That'd be nice.
Well, if you need some mountain bike trails, if you ever been out to the Yakult Burn area near the Larch Mountain Correctional Facility, there's some fun trails out there.
Oh, we got to watch out though.
Yeah.
Don't pick up hitchhikers.
I don't know. Well, looks like the ways people can get a hold of you. Is there any other ways besides direct messaging you or through your website that you'd like people to get a hold of you if they want?
Those are best for me.
Those will work. I think our emails are on those places. So yeah. Charlotte,
Awesome.
You gonna join me?
Great. Well, guys, hey, I just want to say thank you. I'm gonna take us home here, Zan. I love the finishing there.
Yeah, thank you
JT
guys.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Those that have joined us in past labs, they'll know that I'll say thank you about 37 times before the show's over. So I got about 2 minutes to get 34 more in. But again, a big thank you to you guys. You guys really are an inspiration. Steven, JT, it's really fun to follow you guys' stories. You're forever part of the Adventure Labs family. I urge those that are tuning in to reach out to these guys, support Alpenflow, support Steven. And
That's the end of this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below so you never miss an episode. We love hearing from our audience, so if you have feedback, would like to discuss these topics further, or if you or someone you know would be a good future guest, please let us know. Until next time, remember, adventure is better together.